Happening right now, we are continuing to follow some breaking news from overnight. At this moment, we're coming off another deadly night in the district. Just in the last 3 hours, police confirmed to us that 2 people who were shot inside an apartment in Southeast D.C. They are still alive at last check. But this comes as we're getting new details of another shooting turned deadly. 5 people shot in total in one incident in Northeast D.C. last night. And this morning, we've learned that 2 of the victims have died. This all happened on 14th Street and Saratoga Avenue just before 10 last night. That's where we find our Matt Gregory this morning with the latest in this developing story. Matt, there are markers that are all over the place because this is a fresh scene. What can you tell us about what's happening right now?
Yeah, at this point, the investigation continues, Wisdom. It may have happened, last night around 9:50, but this was an extensive scene that we've actually watched investigators go throughout the morning. Let me take you over to it right now. You just heard Lindsay talking about this. This is the area that's blocked off. This is Saratoga and 14th. As you get closer, you can see all those evidence markers over there. Forensics teams, detectives have been going over that, and there's dozens of evidence markers, which generally, from what we've seen at scenes before, this leads to the amount of bullets that were expelled. And since it was a short amount of time, there is likelihood, we've talked to police about this before, that automatic weapons may have been used, but we have not had that confirmed yet from police. But this all happens, this latest shooting, against the backdrop of the acting chief of police, Pamela Smith, going through the first part of her confirmation process and having to answer for many of the things that are happening in the city as she is going forward to be the permanent chief. But let's take you through last night. Around 9:50, police got a report of the shooting near 14th and Saratoga Avenue. When they got here, they found 3 men shot. 2 died on the scene. The other went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, while police investigated the scene, canvassed the neighborhood, talked to neighbors, 2 more men walked into a nearby hospital with gunshot wounds, and police say those 2 men were also injured in the same shooting, bringing the total number of victims up to 5 from this shooting. Now, we spoke to a woman who lives in the neighborhood. She says the threat of gun violence has affected everyone in the neighborhood.
I want to say last year, 3 bullets came through the window. Another time, bullets are flying, and it's just like, something has to be done. Something has to change. You can't just keep making promises and saying that you're going to do better and we're going to try, and people are losing their lives.
Now, like I said, this has happened while the acting chief of police, Pamela Smith, was going through the first day of her confirmation process to become the permanent chief. So she came to the scene to address the shootings. We took the neighbors' frustrations to her and we asked, does she have enough police on the streets?
I can't determine whether or not if we had more officers here, this would or would not have occurred. But what I can say is that we do have officers in areas where we find, based on evidence and data, that there's high crime in those particular areas, and we will continue to do that.
Now, at this point in the investigation, all we know from police is that the suspects they are looking for are in a gray vehicle. That's it. 3 men in a gray vehicle. That's what we've been told. Now, at this hour, while this investigation is taking place and they're continuing to work, we're asking police to answer a few more questions. We want to know what the latest is, like I said, about the suspect information. And we also want to know the identities of the 2 men who died and also what the process is like going forward. Because as you heard those neighbors say, they don't feel safe in this neighborhood, and they haven't for quite some time. So we'll be continuing to ask those tough questions to police here in the district. But for now, in Northeast D.C., I'm Matt Gregory. Back to you.
All right, Matt, thank you so much.